Alright, what's my common denominator here, guys? 3. That's the only one, isn't it? So I'm going to multiply everything by 3. These 3's cancel out. I got x. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. These 3's cancel out. That's 5x plus 21. Move my variable over. Negative 4x equals 27. X equals negative 27 over 4. Do y'all agree? Okay. Number 23. And if you can't see a problem, tell me. We can't see that. X minus 1/3 x minus 1/2 x minus 5 equals 0. What would be my common denominator? 6. I'm going to multiply everything by 6. 6 times x is 6x. 3 goes into 6 2 times. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2x. 2 goes into 6 3 times. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3x. Negative 5 times 6 is negative 30. 0 times 6 is 0. Now I'm going to combine like terms. That gives me x minus 30 equals 0. So x equals what? 30. Okay. 24. 2x minus x over 2 plus x plus 1 over 4 equals 6x. I have fractions again. What would be my common denominator? 4. I'm going to multiply everything by 4. You cannot do these type problems in your head. You must show work. 4 times 2x is 8x. 2 goes into 4 how many times? 2. Negative x times 2 is? These 4's cancel out. I'm going to combine like terms. 8x and 2x. Negative 2 gives me 6x plus x is 7x plus 1. Move that 7 over, becomes a negative, so that's going to be 17. Y'all agree? Then I'm going to divide both sides by what? So your answer is 1 over what? Did I call that? That didn't sound familiar. Did I call that out a while ago? Okay. Alright, number 20. 2/5 x minus 1 equals 3 over 10 x plus 3. What would be my common denominator? 10. So I'm going to multiply everything by 10. What if there was a parentheses in here? Would I go inside that parentheses? No. 5 goes in 10 how many times? 2. 2 times 2x is? Negative 1 times 10 is negative 10. That equals 3x plus 30. I move that 3x over, I get an x. Move that 10 over, I get x equals 40. And 22. Ooh, 22 is a good one. Two-thirds y plus 1/2 y minus 3 equals y plus 1 over 4. What would be my common denominator? 12. So I'm going to multiply this by 12, just the outside by 12, and this by 12. 3 goes in 12 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. 2 goes into 12, 6. 6 times 1 is 6, parentheses, y minus 3. 4 goes in 12, 3. You're going to say 3 times all that, so I'm going to put a parentheses. So distribute 8y plus 6y minus 18 equals 3y plus 3. Combine like terms. Move the 3y over, it becomes 11y. Move the 18 over, it becomes a 21. Y equals 21 over 11. Are we good on homework now? That clear up? See where you made your mistakes? Okay. Alright, now, what we're going to do now, let's review what we did yesterday. Let's just talk about every day I write the old learning cards over here to make sure. That was solving the new equations. We talked about solving given variables. It means you're going to get that variable by itself. It's like peeling an onion. You're going to do the part that has nothing to do with it first, and then take it away from that other part. Are we good with that? So today our first learning target is what here? Quadratic equations. Yesterday we talked about quadratic equations having an exponent of what? 2. Now, when you graph linear function, we talked about a straight line, didn't we? When we graph these functions, it's going to be what? A parabola. A parabola. Either sticking straight upward or downward. But before we start talking about this, guys, what I want to do is I want to review factoring for just a moment. And I know that you had different teachers last year. Raise your hand if you had Miss Blackman. Okay. Raise your hand if you had Mr. Moore. Raise your hand if you had Miss Horton. Okay. I know that Miss Blackman teaches factoring one way. Miss Horton and Mr. Moore teach it another way. I want you to do whatever way you're used to doing. And I'm going to go over both ways in just a minute. Don't try to relearn a new one. You just do whichever way you're used to, okay? Now, so we're going to review for just a second here. Now, I'm talking about, they teach everything the same about number 4 and 5. That's where the difference comes up, okay? So, when I say, Miss Blackman's students cover your ear, I'm going to go with the other one. I'm going to say, Mr. Moore and Miss Horton, you cover your ear. You just don't listen that way. You just do it the way you're used to. I'm going to show both ways, okay? All right. On number 1, though, everybody teaches the same way. I got x squared minus 9x. This is not up there. I just want you paying attention right now, okay? X squared minus 9x. Is that a difference of squares? No, it's not. What keeps that from being different squares? The x. Now, if it had been x squared minus 9, it would be, wouldn't it? But because there's an x, that x is not squared on the 9. So, what's the only thing you can do with that? GCF, take an x out. So, it would be x minus 9. Are y'all good with that? Now, is this a difference of squares? Yeah, so it would be x plus 10 and what? We're good, okay? Now, in this one, they teach you the same. It's got to multiply to give you what? Negative 10, add to give you what? I call this easy because that's all you do, isn't it? Because you got a coefficient of what right here? 1. Now, this is where it gets different when you don't have a coefficient of 1, do it. Okay. Have you ever heard of bust them up? Mr. Moore? They went over both of them good. Okay. I know there's bust them up. And I think Miss Horton called it AC hard. Was that it? Yep. And then there was something like what did Miss Slide divide. Okay. One day I hope we all have the same one, but I'm gonna show you both of them. Okay. All right. So okay. If you didn't have Miss Blackman, just tune me out right now. Okay. All right. This is Miss Blackman's way to slide and divide. You multiply this and this, and you got x squared plus 5x minus 24. You got to think of what, and I got the 24 by multiplying this. What multiplies to give you negative 24 and adds to give you 5? Well, that's x plus 8 and x minus 3. Then at the end, you come back and divide by what? That 4. So you got x plus 2, and then you got x minus 3/4. What do you do with that 4 there, guys? Bring it in front. So you got x plus 2 and 4x minus 3. Do y'all remember that? That's Miss Blackman's. Okay. Now, this is AC hard and bust them up is the same thing. So I'm going to show you all the other way. Now, this is the way I teach it. Is what I teach the same way Miss Horton and Mr. Moore does. You're going to multiply that. It's going to multiply to give you negative 24 and add to give you 5. So that's going to be positive 8x. I'm busting up that middle term. And I get 4 terms. Y'all remember that. And then you group these two off and group these two off. What can I take out of that first term? 4x. And that leaves me x plus 2. Well, I take a positive or negative out of that second parenthesis. A negative, because that first term is negative. So that's going to be a negative 3. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 leaves me a positive x. Negative 6 divided by negative 3 leaves me a positive 2. Did I do it correctly? Do you see how I got the same thing both ways? I don't care which way you do it, as long as you know your way and you know it correctly, okay? So I'm just going to, instead of calling it by names, I'm going to say, you know what method? Factor it. You got me? Is everybody good with that? But just don't try to learn a new way. Just stay with what you're used to, okay? Do I need to go back over another one like that, or can we wait till we get to examples? This is just like a preview. Okay, quadratic formula from last year. What's the quadratic formula? Opposite of what? B plus or minus. Very good, guys. Good job. And you only use this when you cannot factor. Okay? Now, how do I know what my A, B, and C are in these problems? 5 is your what? A. Your B is -1, and your C is? Y'all good on that review? Okay, let's start our lesson then. Okay. We're on the next page on the back of where we were at yesterday, and we want to solve quadratic equations. Okay. Quadratic equations, when it becomes an equation, guys, you got to get an answer. It's just not make the factor form as your answer like we were doing earlier. You're going to get an answer. But what is one characteristic you remember about quadratic equations? They have to be set equal to what? 0. When they're set equal to 0, good job, guys, they are called to be in standard form. Okay. So on number 12, is that in standard form? No, it's not. So what's the first thing I need to do from Dylan? What's the first thing I need to do on number 12? I need to move that 24 over and make it a negative. Very good. All right, so I'm going to move this over. So I got x squared plus 5x minus 24 equals 0. Now, I'm always going to try what strategy first? Factoring or quadratic formula? Factoring. Okay, this looks easy to me. I think we just did this one, didn't we? So this will be x plus 8, x minus 3. Now, you don't have to show me all the steps. You can do this in here. What's your x equal to? -8 and x equals what? 3. You're good. You don't have to show me all those steps, okay? Unless you can. Are y'all good on that? I got some eyes looking at me like I'm. Did I do that right?
Yeah.
Y'all agree, or what? Some of y'all looking. Y'all okay? Yeah, everybody agrees, don't you? Okay. How I got these factors right here? Okay. It's got to multiply to give you a -24, add to give you 5. So I think of the numbers. 8 times -3 is -24. 8 plus -3 is 5. Alright, let's look at number 13. I know it's not going to be easy because we have a coefficient greater than 1 there. It's 4. Okay, I want you to do your factoring method right now to see if it works. And I'm going to do mine up here and we're going to compare, okay? Because I do it different, some of y'all. Hey, look, we're not finished strong. I want you to compare what you got so far. Does your factoring, the factor form looks the same I got? 2x plus 3 equals 2x plus 3. Regardless of the method you used, you'll get that. See, I just don't do that method, so I haven't learned that method. Okay. All right, now, since you got the same thing in both parentheses, guys, you need to work it both. No, you can just work it one time, okay? So what's your x going to equal to? -3/2. And once again, if you can do that in your head, you can. You don't have to show me the work, okay? All right, let's look at number 14. Okay, it appears to be easy because we got a coefficient of what? 1. But can you factor that? No, so we're going to have to use the what formula? Quadratic, okay? So here we go. So I got x squared minus 8x plus 13 equals 0. Opposite. Okay, let's identify our A, B, and C. What's our A value? 1. Our B and our C. Is it 15 or 13? 13. 13. All right. Opposite of B. What's opposite of negative 8? Plus or minus B squared. Thank you. Minus 4 times A times C. All over 2 times 1. 8 plus or minus 64. Negative 4 times 1 times 52. Correct. Thank you. Over 2. 64 minus 52 is what? 12. Do you know the square root of 12? Off the top of your head? No. But if you can break it down, you got to do that, okay? You can't just leave it 12 there. Okay, so I'm going to come over here, break 12 down. That's 4 times 3. I have a pair of 2's, don't I? So I'm going to bring that 2 out. Now, you might not have learned how to simplify radicals like that. I did. Breaking it down like that. Some of y'all might just think of the perfect squares that go into it. And I can talk to you about radicals later on. But does everybody understand how to break 12 down? Y'all remember how to do that? Oh, it's supposed to be 2. I don't know. Thank you. See, that's why y'all are my lifelines there. It's supposed to be 2. But do y'all see that right there? Does everybody understand how to break 12 down? If not, we can go over a little mini lesson. All right, now, is that my final answer? Before you hit that submit button, what can I do? Now, you cannot go into that house, but if you have something that goes into all 3 of them, can you simplify that? Yes, I can take a what out? So I got 4 plus or minus square root of 3 over 1. Do you have to put that over 1? No, it's just 4 plus or minus square root of 3. Got a question. This has nothing to do with this problem. What if you were in this formula and you got that in your problem? Square root of negative 6. How would you handle that? You have to put an I in front of the radical. You remember that? Like you had to bring it out like that. I'm just saying that in case you run into that so you know what to do. Does that make sense? Okay. Alright, number 15. Is it in standard form, guys? No, it's not. So what I'm going to move over first? 20x, okay? So 5x squared minus 20x equals 0. Can I factor that? Yes, I can take a what out? 5 and an x. Now, remember here, you got to set anything that has a variable with it to 0. So you got to say 5x equals 0 and x minus 4 equals 0. Now, guys, if this 5 didn't have the x with it, would you have to set equal to 0? No, it's only if it has a variable with it, okay? So what's x equal here? And x equals what? 4. Very good. How do we know that 16 is a quadratic function? The highest exponent is the value of 2. Okay? You got to know names this year with functions because we study a lot of functions, and I'm going to ask you why. And I'm going to keep asking you why is it quadratic because it has an exponent of 2. Now, it appears to be easy, isn't it? Because it has a coefficient of what? 1. So we're going to try to factor. Can this problem be factored? Yes. What 2 numbers? Negative 9 and negative what? 4. So you got x minus 9, x minus 4. So x equals 9, x equals 4. Alright. Number 17. Is it in standard form? No, I'm going to bring it over. Bring both of those over. So I got 3x squared minus 6x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, I'm going to try to factor it. Think about it. Can you factor that? Take a moment. Just don't blurt it out yet. What y'all think? No, we've got to use quadratic formula on this one. So, 3x squared minus 6x plus 1 equals 0. So my A value is 3, my B value is negative 6, and my C value is 1. Opposite of B. What's opposite of negative 6? 6 plus or minus negative 6 squared minus 4 times 3 times 1 all over 2 times 3. So I get 6 plus or minus 24 over 6. I can come over and break 24 down. So 6 plus or minus 2 square root of 6 over 6. Can I reduce that? I can I? What can I take out of all three of these? 2. So I'm left with 3 plus or minus square root of 6 over 3. Now I got a question for you. Just see if you remember this. We're going to talk about this more later on. What is the significance of these solutions to the quadratic equation? Y'all just made my whole weekend. Yes, it's the roots. And what are roots? It's where it crosses the what? So if I was to graph this, it will cross it. You said that's only one answer. No, there's two answers. You said plus or minus. That is where it crosses the x-axis. Good job. Proud of y'all. That is where it crosses. So like on this one right here, it will cross at these two. Here, that means it crosses the x-axis of these two. Good job. Okay. You trying to get which one? Oh, this one right here? Okay. Sorry. Alright, so while he's finishing that up, how do y'all feel about that first drawing in dark? I can solve quadratic. Y'all feel good? I need a hand signal. We still got one more problem I do. I use every second of the day. Okay. Y'all feel good? I need a hand signal to the chest. We're going to start this next one, but we're not going to finish. I might get one example in. How do you know if something's a radical equation? It has a what in it? A radical. Yeah, hence the name. Okay. So let's look at number 18. Jack, you good, buddy? Okay. Number 18. Anybody remember how to solve that? You move the what over first? 2. 5x minus 16 equals 8, and we'll start there on Monday. Y'all have a great weekend. Make sure you get your homework. None of the homework problems that's on there has any radicals in it. It's all quadratics or solve for the given variable, okay? That wasn't too bad, was it, Luke? Pretty easy. Good. It's all review. It's all review. Next chapter is when you start new stuff. Have a great weekend.